Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live Team Alliance training session for Wednesday, November 28th. The time right now is approximately 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before we get started with training, as usual, I would like to welcome our new students. Those of you joining us live for the first time, you are in for a treat. Those of you watching the replay, you are also in for a treat. The replay is just as powerful as the live session. Training with Team Alliance is probably one of the best decisions that you will ever make, because you're going to be exposed to an environment that is super powerful and one where you're constantly learning. And you're only going to be learning what's necessary in order to become successful at trading the markets. What we do specifically is we look at the markets, we read them, we interpret them, and then we apply that information specifically to the platform that you're seeing on the screen now, which is Nadex. Nadex has made it possible for us to trade instruments where we can make money quickly, and through our diligence and understanding of the market, we will make money consistently. That's the key. The trades that we get into are very short, like seconds, less than a minute. The majority of our time is spent being patient and waiting for the market to literally position itself to give us profitable trades. So you'll find that as you're training with us, the majority of what you're going to learn is primarily about how to control yourself. You're going to learn a great deal of information about the market, and the market really is a mirror image of you, because the market is basically being moved by people. So as you begin to understand more about the market, in essence, you're really beginning to understand a lot about yourself. And you want to take the best from what you see the market do. The market is very powerful. It can make you lose a lot of money, and at the same time, it can make you make money consistently. And you want to be on the receiving end of that equation. So in order to do that, you have to acquire the necessary skills, patience and discipline being primarily the first two that you have to work on. The framework that we use for entering into trades and identifying what's going on in the market, that is what you're going to learn through the live training and through the training videos. And if you're new, the videos in particular that I want you to begin with are videos number 55 and number 56. Tell Wendell to press the phone icon. Maybe he forgot to do that. So once you watch those first two videos, they're going to get you acclimated with the process that we use to validate and to disqualify actual trades. Following those two videos, video number 175 and video number 218, and the one yesterday. What was yesterday's video? 237? 237, I believe. Those are the follow-up videos that you're going to watch after the first two that I gave you. So 55, 56, 175, 218, and then 237, specifically in that order. As you watch those training videos, the process that we use will become clearer. All of the categories that we go through in order to get to a profitable trade is going to become remarkably clearer. And although it's going to take you time before you're ultimately in position to trade and to win consistently, it's the learning phase, the first phase, that is the most pivotal and the most important for you. So that's the phase that you are in now. The learning phase has everything to do with the longevity of your trading career. If you don't get it in the beginning, you'll never get it. Many times people will come into training, and what they'll do is they'll think they have it, and they don't have it. As a matter of fact, they're not even close, because you're not working on yourself yet. It's one thing to get into the videos and learn all of the parameters and the rules and, you know, understanding the behaviors of the market and yada, 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 and then you're not working on yourself. It's not going to connect. And that disconnect is what I'm here in live training to help you to dissipate. We want to get rid of that. We want to connect all the dots, and especially the dots that lead back to you as an individual. So patience, patience, patience. That has everything to do with our success. So we're going to go through the categories of what we look for. There's 3 categories of what we look for. What's the first thing that we look for when we come on the charts? The very first thing. Yes, the environment. The environment that we're looking for is the slow condition. And why do we want the market to be slow? Why not fast? Why do we want a slow market? That answer right there says it all. The market is moving fast. That's how you get slapped silly. But yes, the slow environment creates stability ultimately in the market. And with stability comes profits. Jorge said if the market is too fast, the indicative could cross our strike. Yes, that is exactly right. In other words, speed creates erratic behavior, movement. It makes the market do all types of things that you cannot predict or anticipate, and ultimately it's going to lead to you losing. And if you win those trades, it's going to lead to you repeating, wanting to take those trades during that type of environment, which ultimately is going to lead to you losing anyway. So that's the one thing we do not do. We do not play with speed. All right, so after we have recognized that we have a slow environment, and tell me specifically what is a slow environment. Define it specifically. Excellent. 1 micropip of speed. So if you're new, a lot of the things that we say won't make sense. The terminology video will kind of clean everything up for you and give clear definitions to the terminology that you're going to hear throughout training. What is that, 236? But whatever number the terminology video, somebody will post it up. When you watch that video, it will clearly give definition to the words that you hear. Now, the reason that we want the market to be in that slow environment is so that the behavior of the market can begin to stabilize at some point. So that leads me right into the next question. What is the second category that we are waiting for? Behavior. What's another name for it? Well, I can't say no to what you were saying, but what am I looking for? When we talk about behavior, what do we talk about us doing? It's an action. There we go. Bobby got it. Play by play. Yes. So the play-by-play is where we are actually recognizing and defining the actual way that the price moved. So for example, you see me highlighting this candle right here. What does this represent relative to the last 5-minute binary? Each one of these candles represents 1 minute. So what does this specifically represent relative to the last 5-minute binary? It represents the end. Absolutely. The last minute of the binary. So the last minute of the binary is what we are studying. When we're running the play-by-play, we are highlighting, excuse me, the last minute of the binary, and we're looking at how the price moved. And we're able to classify specifically how the price moved. So, for example, we'll look at these last two binaries. The behavior here was what? What was your behavior right there? And yes, exactly. That's where the winners and the loser is decided. And you guys said jerk for that first one? Yes. That was a jerk. What was the behavior here? This one was move hold. Now, those are two of the 4 behaviors that we know that we'll see on the chart. What are the 2 of the other ones? Or I should say, what are the other 2 behaviors? Jorge said reverse hold, yes. And what else? And the stall. There we go. So these are just different ways that the market is moving. And because the market is either moving or it's in the process of being about to move, it has behavior and intricacies within the movement. So there's movement inside of the movement. That's the behavior part. The fact that the market slows down means that the environment that we're in is where we need it to be. But now within that slow environment, there's movement. And it's the type of movement that takes place that defines what the behavior is. So what we're looking for is overall stability in the whole market. But we're narrowing it down and breaking it down into processes and perspectives. So the 3 categories that we look at the market through are giving us a perspective on the same market. It's not like it's a different market. It's the same market that we're watching. This market that we're looking at is the pound dollar, GBP USD. And the way that we're breaking it all down is we're defining it, and we're doing it because it was reverse engineered this way. Like, in other words, if you just come on the chart and you start looking at the price, you have to have something that you start doing. The very first thing that you need to be able to see is that it's slowing down. That's why that's the first category, the environment. What is the environment? Oh, the market is moving fast. All right, so we know that we need to wait for the market to slow down. And then once the market slows down, boom, now we shift into the next category, which is like adding on a microscope, the behavior. And I'm with you, Joel. We're going to get right there. So now when we shift into behavior, now we're looking at, well, how is the price moving? Isn't it? It is so interesting that I said microscope, because if you actually look at something with your naked eye, and then you look at it with the microscope, when you look at it with the microscope, it looks nothing like it looks when you looked at it with your naked eye, because your naked eye can't pick up on it. You have to look at it through the microscope to see what it actually looks like up close. That's what we're doing. So environment comes first. That slows us down. We need the market to be moving slow, first and foremost. Once we have that, then we begin to recognize what the actual behavior in the market is. Just like we're about to define what this one is. And you'll know what this one is right here. What's that? What was that right there? Bingo. That was a stall. That was the stall. Who's asking for that? She's on Messenger. Crystal can't get on the call. Okay. Let me shoot over there real quick. Okay, thank you, Jake Harley. So when we move through each category of how we're looking at the market, that's what we're doing, is we're actually drilling down. I saw someone say that a moment ago. I think that was Jay that said that. No, Bobby, actually. That's exactly what we're doing. We're drilling down. So as we do that, we're making it easier to actually receive from the market. The market is always revealing itself to you. The question is, are you seeing it? Are you able to interpret and to comprehend what it's telling you? It's like a language. So if you're not speaking the language, you won't understand anything. The market will just look like chaos to you. That's where most people are. That's why people say stuff like, oh, the market was acting crazy today. When in reality, the market is always acting crazy, but it's also never acting crazy. Because there's order. There's always order in the market. The fact that it's moving erratic, it looks crazy to you because that's not what you wanted to do, but that erratic movement is a part of the natural order of the market. This is what the market does. It does what it wants to. So we're not trying to predict or to dictate to the market what we want it to do. What we're really doing is we're receiving information about what it is doing. And who better to receive it from than the market itself? That's why all we do is what we do, our process. So now, once we shift into the behavior, now we're looking at the how. Okay, we know that the market slowed down, but now how is it moving in that slow environment? Oh, it's jerking? Okay. If we're seeing that it's jerking, now we know what it is that we're waiting for within the behavior. We know exactly what we're waiting for, and that's what the play-by-play is doing. So when we run the play-by-play, for example, this one was a jerk, this was a move hold, this was a stall. So far we have 2 unprofitable behaviors out of the last 3 binaries that we've seen, right? 2 out of 3 are not what we want. So what do we continue to do? We continue to observe. Mind you, we're observing just until we get the majority. What do I mean by that? Let me say it again. We're observing until we get the majority. What do I mean, and why did I say that? Right. Move hold. And when I say majority, what do I mean? Yes. Progression. Progression. We want to see more move holds than any of the other behaviors. The same way, exactly what Diane just said, more profitable behavior than unprofitable behavior. The majority. The same way that when we're recognizing whether the condition is slow, how do we do it when we measure the speed? What are we looking for? The majority of what? What specifically? Bingo. 1 micropip. So you see how it's the same. We're in 2 different categories doing the same thing. And we're going to do it when we get to the third one too. So now after we have established that we're seeing a level of progression. So for example, let's say out of 6 binaries, out of the last 6 binaries that we have seen, 4 will move holds. That's pretty much progression, and we'll say the most recent 4 out of the 6 will move holds. Okay. And as a matter of fact, look, this right here is a move hold. Speaking of it, that's what we want to see. That's the behavior we want to see right there. So look. So we have a move hold here. This one was a stall. This one was a move hold. This one was a jerk. So far we got 2 out of 4 move holds. So we're continuing to observe. We want to see more progression. We want to see more of this. So time goes by. We're going to fast forward. Let's assume out the next 3 binaries, 2 of them are move and hold. So that would give us a total of 4 out of 6 that are move and hold, right? That's the majority. So now that we're seeing that the behavior is present, now when we go to apply our parameters, we repeat the process, but now we're doing it with a more precise microscope. Just like when we looked at behavior, that's like looking under a microscope. Now we're getting, you know, the Dr. Evil microscope, the one with like 10 lenses on the eye, the one that you flip around and you twist around. You know what I'm talking about. The one that be in a lab looking crazy, that one. So now we're looking under that. That's our parameters. Now we're going into all of the intricacies of the movement. Because mind you, all of it is movement. The market's going fast or going slow, it's moving. How the market is moving, that is also movement. And we're actually defining how it's moving because we want to recognize stability of the movement, right? And then once we see a level of that, the majority of our behavior being what we're looking for, which is stability in the movement, then we shift to the parameters. So by the time we get to the parameters, we're getting closer and closer to that very thing that we're waiting to see at the end. That is the proof in the pudding, which is what? Mark's rule. So you see, like this is the entire process that we use to actually get into trades. But mind you, we're forcing the market to prove to us that we have everything that we need before we even take the trade. Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me talk to Crystal for 1 second. Crystal, are you in? You're on training now, right? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. All right, she's not in yet. I got her. All right, she should be good now. So once again, with all of this part, you know, of our process, every aspect of the process ultimately is the same thing, but each part is necessary just because of how our brain works. It's just like your brain doesn't just connect point A to point Z. You don't go from A to Z. You have to connect B, C, D, like, or everything in between has to be connected in order for there to be stability. And if you miss something, it's not stable. It's just like a formula. When you mess around with chemicals, you mess around and don't have something or have the right amount of something in that formula, and you might blow the daggone laboratory up. Or for something simple that was missing. So because of that, you can't leave anything out. That's why the process that we use, it has to be done the way that it is set up already, because it was done like this in reverse in order to reveal what the market is actually showing us. So every time that you go through the process this way, you begin to see it clearer and you begin to do it faster. Like, this is what actually goes on. The more that you practice, the more that you're doing it faster. It seems like it's becoming easier, but really what's happening is you're getting better. That's what's actually going on. And that's very powerful because you're going to get better inevitably just by simply training. Just repeat, 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 repeat. It's like, man, we keep watching the training videos. We keep going over the same thing every day. Yeah. Yep. We do it every day on repeat. It's like a broken record. But that is exactly how you're going to master this craft, because as you do it, you get better and better at doing it. And I think we got another move hold right here too, right? See? So you can see the progression that we were just talking about. Excuse me, is actually happening. So that's a move hold, jerk there, move hold. So that's 3 out of 5. And the most recent 2 were move holds. That's what we want to see. We know that this type of behavior means that there's stability in the movement. And if the market is showing us that there's stability in the movement at the end of the binaries, and we don't, I mean, Diane, technically, like if you're looking at the market and you're seeing how it's moving in real time, yes, absolutely. You can see that because you're looking at it. You can actually see how it created that candle and, you know, how it formed that move hold. Some of them are not formed the cleanest, of course. But again, if you're looking at the overall behavior, the fact that it's holding at the end of the binary is an indication that we're getting closer. So we just continue to watch, continue to observe, and as the market shifts into more stability of movement, you'll see that move hold become even cleaner, like on the next one, or maybe the one after, or whenever it finally comes where you see that nice clean one, you'll witness that yourself and you'll say, wow, that was nice. But if you're running the play-by-play, the play-by-play is helping you to lead up to that moment when the stability is present like that. So as you're running the play-by-play, always keep in mind that the purpose of you doing that is just to get a better indication of whether or not to even bother with applying the parameters yet. Because like if your behavior is sloppy and it's jerky, you know, not, you know, like why you don't even have to apply the parameters, because if it's jerking, your parameters are going to be disqualified for that trade anyway. It's going to DQ. You already know that just based on the behavior. So as you're watching the behavior, you're really just looking at what the market is doing and how it's getting closer and closer to stability. That's really what it is that we're doing it for you to see and to get a feel for what it feels like when the market actually moves into stability of movement, when it shifts into that stability of movement, and what that looks like and what it feels like. Like, look, let's look right here at what this does. Now you see this right here. If you were selling, this is a short, that's disqualified. And if you were buying here, that's disqualified because it's priced out. Now we know that already. Just like without even doing anything further, that's a DQ if we apply the parameters. Now the question is, all right, well, let's look and see what the behavior is like. And whatever the behavior is giving us a clearer picture as to whether or not we're getting closer to it or further away from it. So it's always incorporated into what we're looking at. Anytime we're on the chart, we're, you know, looking at the play-by-play. Like, I'll give you an example. You ever be on the chart and the candles are huge? Like, they're just long, big candles. You know what I do when I see that? I get off. Like, I'll leave. I'll go and do something else. I will get off the charts and go and do something else because I already know that the market has to slow down. James said when price is moving slower than time. Yes, yes indeed. Yep. I'm scrolling back seeing what y'all were talking about. Okay, Crystal made it also. Very good. Yeah, I see y'all acting crazy. All right, so now, yeah, when I saw it too, I was like, okay, I see somebody been really studying for real. Someone's been training. When we talk about the parameters, and the parameter is the third category. First category is environment, slow condition. Second category is behavior, play by play. And the third category is the parameters. And the parameters are what we're using to siphon out anything that would be a potentially bad entry into the market. So really what happens when we put all of this together, it's impossible for you to get into a bad trade when you follow the protocol. And I know how that sounds, but I'm telling you, you will not get into a bad trade when you follow this entire protocol, period. Because it is putting you in the correct environment with the right behavior at the right time. And this is what Mark's rule is by definition. Everything that we look for is Mark's rule. That's where we end with it. Mark's rule. So anytime you're confused about something, all you have to do is ask, was there Mark's rule on the chart? Oh, I don't know if I should have took that trade. Did you have Mark's rule? No? All right, so you shouldn't have took the trade. It's really just that simple. I know that we get into like the little intricacies where we're like, well, how long is the Mark's rule supposed to be for? That's when you are getting better at recognizing how the shifts take place, like the speed cycles. You know, in other words, when the market speeds up and then slows back down. Many times the market will do that, but the behavior will remain stable. In other words, you'll have stability still present. The only shift that took place was the speed of the market, where it sped up and then it slowed back down. Then there are times when you will have no stability because the behavior is not there yet, and the market is slow, but it's not moving right. And it's like, well, damn, you know, what are we waiting for? That's where you're running the play-by-play and you're waiting for progression. You just want to see that the market is progressively getting better as far as the way that it is moving. And until you see that, you're not even anywhere near close getting Mark's rule because you're not going to get into a valid situation at all with that type of behavior. So you see, anytime you have a question or you wonder about any part or anything within any of the categories, the answer is always going to be Mark's rule. So if you're not even anywhere near potentially getting to Mark's rule, then of course you know that the market is not giving you what you're waiting to see at all. Because Mark's rule means that everything is there. And until everything is there, you don't have Mark's rule. So anything that you're doing in the interim while you're waiting for that is really just improving your ability to recognize and to feel out the market. There are times when I come on the chart and I can see right away that there won't be trades. And I'll get off. And I'll kind of stay off until I feel like coming back. To have that level of confidence that there won't be a trade and be right. Like, in other words, I get off and there won't be a trade. And then I'll come back on at a later time. And then pick right back up where I left off at. Your ability to do that is going to improve with time and practice and experience. You're crazy. Why would you say that? Like it's Wednesday. Oh gosh. Let me see what Diane was saying. I know last 60, but 60 is a long time, and during that time the price could move around a lot. But at the end of that 60 seconds, the final formation. I hear must see the candle form, or are we looking at final? We're looking at both. We're looking at both. That question is exactly kind of what I was building on just now when I was saying anytime you have questions within any of the categories, the answer is always going to be Mark's rule anyway. Crystal, feel free. You can ask your question. Just ask. You don't even have to ask if you can ask. Just ask the question. Yes, you can. If any of you want to unmute and ask your question, feel free. Since you focus on the tick system, do you ever open the tick chart, or do you only view the candlesticks? On the Nadex chart, the Nadex chart is only showing down as low as 1 minute on the intervals. Like when you click on the chart and you go to interval here. Well, actually, no, it does show the tick. I don't use a tick because the tick is like, it looks like this. And when you're using the tick, the Nadex algorithm is showing the pricing of the market in two different ways. Because what you see on the chart, like what you see down here, and what you see on the indicative price, which is here, and also on a ticket. Like, let me pull up a ticket and show you what I mean. And I'll pull this one up. When we're looking at price, we're looking at this. Right there. That indicative price, Nadex indicative index, that is the price. The tick chart will show the intricate movement of what the indicative average is doing. It's a different barometer that they're using on the Nadex platform. What we go by is the indicative, because the indicative is what is deciding the win or the loss. So when we talk about back ticks and anything that has to do with what we're looking at this number. That right there. So the indicative is going to be the deciding number. Right, and a lot of people do. A lot of people use outside charting. I don't. The reason that I stopped doing that because in the past, we used to use the MetaTrader platform, and I did that because I was used to MetaTrader because I came from Forex. I used to trade Forex in the past, so I was using MT4, and I realized that for one, it was confusing people. They would try to download MT4 and then get the template that I had. It just was it was an extra unnecessary step. And when I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? No, we're not going to do that because all we need to know is what the indicative is doing. The indicative is what's deciding everything anyway. So let's focus our attention and study from the perspective of the Nadex chart using the Nadex indicative index price. And that's all we use now. And that's all we need. Yeah, I was with FXCM when they first started. A long time ago. I didn't know they got in trouble. What happened with them? Brokers always be getting in trouble because they be doing slick stuff. Bobby said, I have a hard time watching the indicative on the ticket. The candles are easier on my eyes. And yeah, whatever's easier and more comfortable for you. The reason that I talk about looking at it on the ticket is because when you have the ticket open, like when you're applying the parameters, you see the indicative there, and you also see option pricing there at the same time. And it's it's right there. And you know that you're looking at multiple things at the same time. So depending on what you're most comfortable with will determine whether or not that's something that's easier or more difficult for you. Yeah, the tick chart is more so for scalpers. Like people that like to scalp the market. They drill all the way down to the tick. They want to see where the immediate movement is going. But I'll tell you what, when you down on the tick chart, playing with all that, market is erratic as hell. It's very erratic. So what you might have thought it was about to do, it could have started doing it, and then it just stopped on the dime, turned around, and go the other way. Oh, wow. Really? They shut down FXCM? I didn't know that. What? Ooh, revenge. Revenge. They sent your money back. They ain't sent me back mine. That's all right, though. I got them. Yeah, I made a lot of money with FXCM. Not with them, but I should say I took a lot of money from them because if they were trading against traders, then they got what they deserve. Yeah, I pulled 6 figures out of FXCM for real. Yep. Joel, what you asking, man? Stay still. Let's do that with Nadex. Well, fortunately for us on Nadex, we taking somebody else's money on the other side. Joel, I should kick you off for saying that. 1, 2, 3.
Crunch.
3. Y'all are crazy. That's an inside joke. If y'all scroll up, you'll see what he asked, and then you'll understand what my response was. Jay's like, what the hell was that? But yeah, Nadex is definitely a different ball game. Fortunately, something that we really can do very well on. They're becoming more popular now, which is a good thing. The more liquidity and more volume that's on the platform, the better. Yes, more money in our pocket. And with the way that we trade, you know, it's like we're under the radar though. Like this is not popular, and I don't believe it'll ever be popular like that. Most people are gonna lose. Most people are gonna lose. They ain't, you know, they're not gonna know what they're doing. No, don't trade the indices, and the reason being is because we only trade the 5-minute binaries. They don't have indices on the 5 minutes yet. And if I had to guess, I would say that they're going to in the future, as their platform grows and more people are going to trade. Yeah, I mean, most people think everything is a scam. You know, anything that has to do with making money, they think automatically that it's a scam, and that's okay. That is okay. Yes, she is. Crystal is brand new, so she just asked some questions. And if any of you have questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah, I believe this is Crystal's first training. She corrected somebody. She said she's not lost at all. No, this is the new Crystal. Exactly. Fitting right in on the first day. Crystal said, not OG Crystal. Something happened in my charts and I lost all my rectangles. It must have happened when I switched over some. Now it's not letting me even click on it. Damn. Let me close this chart, open up a new one, see. Priced out here. Back tick. That's a DQ. Yep, that's a DQ. Do want to see what the behavior is though, which we will see. There we go. There's my rectangle. Yeah, see that jerk at the end? That's what I wanted to see if it was going to do. So that jerkiness is still present. this is how I like to do it too, as far as before I kind of settle in and get comfortable with just applying the parameters, because you want to see what your behavior is looking like at the end of the binaries before you even begin to apply the parameters, because you'll do stuff like this. Say you apply the parameter on this trade, and let's say that it was valid. Say that you had pricing on the option or whatever. So that would have been a valid entry, but because of this behavior at the end, this would not be Mark's rule. You see? Now, what used to normally happen is if you were just applying the parameters, if you're not well versed with feeling the market, and that's what I used to call it, because I didn't know how to break it down yet. This was before we were doing the behavioral study. I didn't get this far yet, as far as being able to communicate it to you, to actually communicate feeling the market. Now the behavioral study does it. It actually shows you what the actual movement in the market looks like when you're in a slow environment. So you can see this type of stuff beforehand. And as long as you're still seeing this until the majority of the movement becomes stable and you start to see more move and hold, you don't even have to concern yourself with applying the parameters yet, because you know that you're still waiting for stability to be present. And until it comes, you're going to either get disqualified, or you know that you won't end up with Mark's rule, even if the trade is valid. Make sense? I'm going to let someone else answer that question. Y'all see what Crystal asked? She said that's a trade that she would take but not hold until expiration. What y'all think about that? You see the responses, Crystal? Yes, there we go. Yep, we do not scout. What we prefer to do is not enter the market at all. Yep. Keep our money. Yeah. Yep, I know what you mean, Jorge. And Matthew hit it right on the head. He said, no need to scout when you're taking a winning trade. Yeah, I mean, it is, man. It really is. I've been down that path, like, for years. And I think that's when I started losing my hair. Was during that time. And when the gray hair started coming. Stacy says scalping cost me $500. Yes, exactly. Okay, behavior looking a little better. The training last night was very, 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 very powerful. In addition to the trainings that we encourage you to watch, 55, 56, 175, 218, the training yesterday really gets into you and your mindset, kind of explains why we want to slow everything down, like literally. Slowing everything down really leads to profitable, consistent trading. When you're in the mindset of wanting to always extract from the market, as a matter of fact, I already know I'm about to move into something deep just from that statement. When you're in the mindset where you feel that you're extracting from the market, you're already on the wrong path. Because what we do is we don't extract from the market, we receive from the market. There's a difference. When you're extracting, you're the aggressor. And just think about that in terms of you versus the market. If you challenge the market, who do you think going to win long term? That's it. Market wins. House wins. Yep. You definitely need patience. It's like that's not optional. Yeah, it's a reverse engineer of how the market actually is. If you actually think about what we do, we had to flip it around. Had to flip it all around. Yes, it is. It is a formula. Depending on how this sets up, this might set up. And when I say, like right now, what I'm looking at, like even if this was set up as an actual trade and give us, the behavior at the end, it wouldn't be a trade that you can take. Right now, we're in observation and study mode. But you want to just see how this sets up. You got 4 MP away right there. 5 MP away, had pricing, boom, right there. That was valid. That was valid. Boom. Now look and see how it ends. Look and see how it ends. Mark, why didn't you take it? You can't take it. Gotta watch it. They call it funny. She said, don't take that then. I know you wanted to take that trade so bad, didn't you? You can tell the truth. And look at what it does at the end. Is that Mark's rule? Now it is a winning trade, but is this Mark's rule? Jay said that was beautiful. Until that happened. Now, mind you, look at, I don't even think that the seconds were showing, but I know that happened in the last 8 seconds of that binary. And that is the exact reason why we can't just take the trade. And we have to observe. So the fact that we saw, it set up, it positioned itself, it looked beautiful. Set up nice. But that ain't the one. The fact that jerk is still present, we don't want that. So continue to observe. Patience, Daniel. Patience, Daniel. Yes, we wait for the Mark's rule. That was good. Exactly. That furthers the reason of let it go by. There we go. We don't try to fit square pegs into the circle. After you just giving me quotes to use, let me go copy that. I'll be using that as well. Thank you, sir. Matthew, he'll just drop a nugget out of nowhere. My sound is coming garbled. Uh-oh. Anybody else hear that? Oh, might be you, Diane. Oh, call too? Ah, maybe it is me. Matthew said he's good. Okay. It was a moment ago. Okay. All right, cool. Matt said it sounded like a time warp. Oh, I sound like Robocop for a second? Alright, so I want to see what this next one looks like. I do like I like the environment right now that we're in. The speed I like. The behavior, we have already been seeing that the behavior's been trying to stabilize for a while now. That jerk there, this was moving old. Last one was the jerk. Yeah, we want that to stabilize. Yep, ain't no getting slapped. Nope. And I know the trade set up, and you see him, you be like, and it looks good, and then you be like, nope. Like you have to talk yourself out of the trade. What? Clarity on the behavior at the end. One more time. Doesn't matter what it did through most of the last minute. It's the very end. What did it do? There's some confusion still, I think. It is what it does at the end. What it does at the very end is what is important as far as behavior goes. And if you're seeing sudden spurts and jerks of movement at the end, like in last 5 seconds, that jerkiness is in the market still. And the fact that it is still there is just an indication that there is still instability present. Really, the bottom line is that until you get a valid Mark's rule, the market is not stable. Yes, that one did hold. The last few seconds or how much time? I believe the time frame is where the confusion is maybe when the clock goes 0. Right. Can't be a winner for 4 minutes and 59 seconds. It has to be 5 minutes. That's it. When that clock goes to 0, that's when. Market could do something crazy on you in the last 2 seconds. So, again, this is why the way that we do the process also has a lot to do with the overall market. Because if you're relying on the majority, what that means is there's something that is overwhelmingly present in the market. We're waiting for stability to be overwhelmingly present in the market instead of erratic movement. And we're seeing that manifest through each category, starting with the environment, then of course the behavior, and then when the parameters validate. But we need all three we need everything to manifest and to transcend through all three categories. That's Mark's rule. That's why Mark's rule was the answer to everything. Is the 1 minute chart the only chart Mark's rule? You can see it on any chart because it is where the price is ending relative to the strike. But the 1 minute chart is applicable specifically for what we do because we're observing behavior in the last minute. So you need to look at it on a 1 minute chart. Absolutely. We need to see what the behavior is during that last minute. So when watching candle, do you see if it is still erratic, even if it ends in move hold, even if move hold may still need to wait for market to slow down? Yes. And see, you asked and you answered the question in the same sentence. Even if that, I don't even know if that was a question. I think you just more so made a statement. And that statement is correct. Even if you, in other words, even if you have move hold, you may still need to wait for the market to slow down. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what that looks like. You know what slow movement looks like. It's when you're seeing the majority of 1 micropip. So that's why you need to see the formation, not just the end. You need to see the entirety and ultimately the end. Because it's where the price is ending relative to where it moved. So during that last minute, if it moved in one direction, and that direction that it moved in and the point that it moved to held, that's an indication of stability of the price movement. If it decides not to hold at the end and instead it jerks on you, that's an indication that there's erratic movement present in the market still. So you can see erratic movement, you can see speed. Everything that's not what we want, you can see. And everything that is what we want, you can see through observation. And yes, exactly what Jay Carly is saying now. You can get 10 move holds in a row in a fast market. Yep. And you know that you're waiting for the market to slow down. Crystal, you thought I was going to take that trade? Nope. Who could tell me why I would not take that trade? Why would I not take that trade? Let's talk about that real quick. Why would I not take that trade? Randy said it was priced out. Crystal said the candlestick formation looked good in sell position. Jorge, it was not Mark's rule. Call. Distance. Bingo. That's one. All the parameters not met. There we go. That's another one. Distance, back tick, jerk. There we go. We had so many reasons not to do anything there. And, of course, the most important reason to not take it is because of what? Woo! Yes, go. Let's go. We don't have a Mark's rule. See, so everyone already knows I'm not going to take any trade, Crystal, because what we need to actually see take place is a valid trade with the right behavior at the end before we have permission to take any trade. So in this process, we're never just taking trades. We have to observe Mark's rule first. Then we have permission to take valid trades that follow afterwards. So yes, you definitely want to get into the training videos. So once again, videos number 55 and 56, video number 175, 218, and 236. Yes, very good, Jay Carly. Thank you very much. Those are the videos that you want to watch. Also, Crystal, you want to stay connected in the group chat. Yes, and the rules govern your decision to enter a trade. Absolutely. The most important rule is Mark's rule. And when you watch number 218, you'll get full understanding of what we mean by that. The other videos are guiding you through the process that we use to actually drill down and validate or disqualify the trades. But when you put it all together, the light bulbs will definitely begin to come on and you'll understand. So yes, once again, definitely make sure that you stay connected in the group chat. That's where if you have questions or you want to see us running the play-by-play, you want to see if there's a Mark's rule, it'll be posted in there. Yes, do your due diligence, absolutely. Like right here, we're looking at the indicative here. And you had a back tick. You see that back tick? That right there disqualifies that trade for a sell. No trade. So let's say that we had Mark's rule and you were looking at this as a potential sell. You would not have taken that. It was disqualified based on our parameters. So the parameters keep you out of the market if the possibility of you losing exists. But again, this is after the market has proven to you that everything that we need to take place has taken place. Because that's what, by definition, Mark's rule is. I appreciate that, James. It's true. It is true. And yes, more so on yourself, absolutely. So this video, tonight's training, will be available in the playlist probably within the next 40 minutes or so. I think this training is what, 238, something like that. Once again, watch those videos that I gave you to watch if you are new, and stay connected in the group chat. And that's it. Training over. Goodbye. Good night, everybody. Everybody have a great evening. Be safe. I'll see you guys in the group chat. Love, peace, and
Don't do it.
you hear my wife? I want to do it just because you stayed in here making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Just because you came in here making peanut butter and jelly, I should do it. Good night. Somebody say it for me. Come on, y'all are unmuted. Somebody unmute and say it for me, please.
So.
Yes. Yes, it's on there. Good night, everybody.